Hello Targar friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another orc mode workout. Today was a lower body day. Quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. And over to the video. Now you guys see me struggling a bit to get into that position. I do have to force myself into it. Still dealing with rebuilding my shoulder mobility, still a little bit of inflammation, but it's controllable enough that I can get under a straight bar. And on the preview, I showed you guys a side view for depth also. And before anyone calls depth, I have already sent this to a good friend of mine who is a coach and who has refereed probably 100 powerlifting meets, and he gave me 3 white lights for depth. So I don't really care. He also has squatted over 700 pounds raw. He gave me 3 whites. I'm happy. So, but that means we need to continue to work on it. And people have already asked, hey, what's up with you seeking to get a little better depth of this bar? Well, number one, I'm opening up my hips more, which I needed to work on again. Number two, this bar doesn't pitch you forwards or backwards, right? So a lot of people notice me getting that 600 and a 601 on the cambered bar. In theory, I should be stronger with a straight bar. You don't get anything out of that bar. Most people are weaker on it. So hypothetically, when I get used to that bar again, I may already be able to hit 600 plus. I may already be there. And that wasn't a super hard single. I ran it against 100 pounds of bands to get a feel for it, get used to bands again, make it pull me down. And I think I'm gonna work with the straight bar for a bit for the maxes and do all my rep work with the safety squat and the cambered bar because they're easier on my shoulders, because I did leave my shoulder a little stiff. Then I did a deadlift today. I said I'm going to deadlift about every third lower workout. Threw a lot of chain weight. I did 112 pounds of chains. These weren't terribly hard either. I would say the last one is definitely above 90% though, for sure. Some people said on the last one, which is 535 plus 112 pounds of chains. Yes, I'm aware there's a small amount of chains still on the ground. That's how we do chains. And I'm keeping it very consistent with my chain links so that we can compare these, right? So that I can compare them from time to time. And there's going to be a little bit on the ground, and I'm not worried about it. It wasn't an all-out max. It was a nice, solid, strong pull just to make sure I get a heavy pull in every now and then. I'm going to use good mornings, rows, squats, reverse hypers to build my deadlifts. That's how I built the 615 going into this month. Last year, a year ago, I pulled 615. It was only my second pull above 600 since I've come back to YouTube, right? Since I came back to training and started YouTube over 8 years ago now. And that method worked pretty well. We're going to do that for this phase again. I'm going to do that probably the rest of the year. Do a heavy, solid pull against bands or chains, occasionally a raw one, occasionally a deficit one, right? Come in and just do them, just to maintain the movement pattern and to get you stay used to straining. And when I'm ready to really PR, we'll come in and really PR. But there's no point in me doing a raw deadlift until I know I can hit a bigger number than I've hit, because I've hit 615 and then I hit 625 off a 1-inch deficit last year. Till I can surpass that. So what do we mean? Well, we need to surpass the 625 off the deficit. I need that raw. So I would say my minimum till I feel I can pull 635 clean. We're just going to do the variations. Okay, we'll do the variations. So I did, after the deadlift, we did a 3x20 with 261. We're calculating off of that max. And I'm trying to open up my hips more. A few of these reps I'll miss depth. It's hard when we're hitting 20s to be consistent with it, and I try to get a little deeper as I get near the end. These are fatiguing. You guys will see me, the look on my face as I get near the end. They're tough, but they work. This helps with conditioning. It's going to help with hypertrophy, and it's going to help me take my squats and lower body up to the next level. I'm doing all my lower body work with 20s right now. You guys will notice a trend there. Lower body day is all 20s and maxes. Because realistically, you know, we can talk about different rep ranges having different potential benefits for hypertrophy. I'm hitting 2 maxes, 2 training maxes every workout. Everything else needs to just be pure hypertrophy with no concern for necessarily the mechanical tension elements and all the intramuscular coordination, because I'm maxing on 8 lifts a week. Real heavy work beats you up. These don't beat you up. These are very fatiguing while you're doing them. They're cardiovascularly taxing. High reps like this do not beat your bones and your joints up. And what is it that we know? We've heard plenty of experts say this. You've heard everyone from Greg Knuckles to Paul Carter say this. Doing a heavy single before rep work can produce a larger response from the rep work itself. Okay, because it already attenuates upper threshold fibers. In other words, in theory, we may get a slightly larger hypertrophic response from the rep work. So I'm just going to come in and maximize metabolic fatigue. And as you guys will see, I'm going to do these different bars. Why? Because the safety bar, I feel like, is the easiest to recover from. And it's absurdly difficult, and it's the hardest bar to use. But it hammers my quads and upper back and middle back really, really, really hard. I need those to come up. My glutes and my lower back, my erectors, are my strongest muscles in my entire body. Hands down. They're by far the strongest. I can build those and continue to build those off of even, good mornings, reverse hypers, and my occasional camber bar squats, which again favor those muscles. The safety bar is going to help me bring all that stuff up, and then even then we know I need more upper back. Need more upper back. It'll help my squat and my deadlift. I do most of my good mornings with this. I'll probably do 2/3. That'll probably be my ratios. 2/3 of my squatting and good mornings are going to be with the safety bar, and about 1/3 of it's going to be with the camber bar, because I can move some real big weight and I can get that posterior chain involvement. I can really hit those things. This bar really hits my hamstrings. Surprisingly enough, I feel hamstring and my upper and middle back get destroyed with this bar for the good mornings. So I'm using it to bring all those areas up. And then again, particularly the back. My glutes and lower back, I don't have to prioritize them. They're super strong already. I still do an occasional bar for them. And I do reverse hypers every workout. My reverse hyper strength is well above average. Right? My reverse hyper strength says that the muscles involved in the reverse hyper should be approaching a 700-pound deadlift. I don't have the upper back to pull 700 right now. Right? I need more back and even middle back. So we address that with these bars. We address it with rowing also. But these were challenging also. You guys will notice me again looking like I'm dying when I re-rack these weights. Because I'm lightheaded. This bar will do that to you. It tries to force the air out of your lungs. It tries to force it out because of the way it pitches forward, and you're supposed to pull the handles down. That's how you get the best training effect out of this bar. You'll see people push up on the handles to let them cheat and lift more weight. That is not how we get the training response we want from this bar. We want this bar to pull you forward. And so by me, again, switching through the two bars for all my hypertrophy work with a slight bias towards the bar that will hit my weak points. And it's also, again, easier for me to recover from because I move the least weight on it at the same exertion level. My maxes are lower, quite a bit lower. We will get there. And I can base on how the rep work feels and whether I'm ready to PR on these bars or not. Because I'll need to come in and occasionally hit PRs with these bars. Now, the good mornings, I'm going to keep doing these bars. I'm going to max on more good mornings than I am deadlifts. Again, I'm probably going to do a 2-to-1 ratio. So that's probably what we'll do. Days where I mess with the cambered bar for some squatting, I'm going to max on the good mornings and so on. So these I'm going to continue to try to get PRs off of the good mornings. And that might mean I have to throw chains and stuff on them to keep them moving. But as far as the squats themselves go, we will base it on how the rep work is going. And when I think I can come in and PR these bars, I'll PR these bars because we can set strength standards for them. I've already said that I need to get to a 600 safety bar this year. right? A 600 safety bar should give me a 650 back squat. And since we're using it as one of the primary mass builders for it, it's important to note that. We need to know where the performance is on it. And then I did my axle bar rows. I added the microplates again. I did 3 sets of 20, and I got like 21 on the last one. And I decided, look, I'm going to do just 3 sets of these because I'm doing 5 sets of rows and then the hang pulls on my upper body days. I need the extra grip training and I need the extra back, but at a certain point, it might be just too much volume. These days are just heavier all the way around because I'm hitting big lifts. And I'm going to reduce the volume just a little bit. We're going to keep it nice and moderate. So we're going to do 3 by 20 on, 3 different lifts on a squat, a good morning, and then a row. And then I'll do 5 by 20 on reverse hypers, which is what we did today. So I don't think that I need 20 sets of rows a week. This will put me down to, about 16. And considering I'm doing 10 sets of like the snatch grip hang pulls that work the upper back and delts and everything also, that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. Because again, if we factor in the delt part, if we factor in the middle back and all of that, the good mornings are contributing to that. Another six sets of good mornings every week. In addition to those 16 sets of rows. So a lot of that mid back, we're past 20 sets, even here. The upper back, the same thing. If we do 16 of these, but then the others, we're past 20 sets also. This is a lot of volume. So I'm still at extreme amounts of volume for those muscle groups. Even if I trim these down to just 3 sets, we're pushing a lot of volume. I mean, we could make the argument I could cut all of these pulls down to 3 sets. I don't think that I should right now. I don't think that would be optimal. Right? So we're not going to do that. And then we did our reverse hypers. One of the things I'm noticing with these lately, I've learned more and more to keep my toes turned up. You guys notice my toes are curled up? It prevents me from bending my knee as much, and I get less hamstring cramping. A lot of times if I forget to do that, I get hamstring cramping. So I've been a lot more mindful of it lately. And I'd noticed that I did this on all 5 sets today, because sometimes I don't do it on all of them. And if I don't do that, especially after doing the high rep good mornings, sometimes my hamstrings are cramping and I can't even sit down to do these voiceovers for a while. Like I've got to massage my hamstrings and everything. Again, this makes it a lot easier post-workout. And so something I'm going to have to continue to be mindful of for me personally. And I still get a ton of hamstring activation. My hamstrings actually, definitely, I feel them on this movement. And if I do it that other way, they feel like they get way too much work. But still, for me, this is a primary glute and a lower back exercise. Everyone talks about this for the lower back, and they should, because again, it puts the low back in traction. One of the best prehab and even rehab movements you can possibly do for your lower back. 7 of my clients have one of these. Okay? 7 of my clients have bought a reverse hyper for their home gym based upon my recommendations. Not one of them has regretted that purchase. So I promote this. But for me, I feel this in my glutes. This is the only exercise that has ever given me glute DOMs. And I don't mean to say that DOMs are indicative of everything. Like, DOMs don't mean everything. But the mere fact that I have done really heavy glute bridges, you guys have watched me do 5 sets of 10 with like 515 or 525 on a glute bridge. Okay? You see me do a 5 by 5 with 585. I've done hip thrusts for high reps with 455. I have never gotten glute DOMs from any of those movements. I've gotten glute DOMs from this exercise. This is the only exercise that's ever done it. To where I could say, hey, I changed something today and I woke up with glute DOMs the next day. It hits the glutes super hard for me. And again, we need those glutes for the squat and the deadlift. We need them. And then obviously I'm doing my band leg extensions, which I don't have on the camera. I've already done 1 set, and as soon as this is voiced over, I'm going to go do another set, and then I'm going to get on my bike for a bit, because that's one of the things that I find helps my legs recover from these higher volume squatting. is if I spend about 30 minutes on my bike doing some list cardio shortly after my workout, after I get some carbs and everything soaked in, it tends to eliminate any DOMs. So far that seems to help. It seems to completely cut out DOMs, and it's something I need to be aware of, adding those leg extensions in also, because bands can tend to create DOMs also, and I don't like to have DOMs. Okay, it's not desirable for quality of life. If I can get the same training effect without DOMs, then that's preferable. So things that help eliminate it are good. So I'm very, very happy with today's workout. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.